Hello and welcome to another Clare Echo video special. Today we're delighted to be joined by All-Ireland winner Áine Kelly and former All-Star Noelle Comyn all the way from the United States. Such as the joy of technology that both were able to watch Clare's unfortunate All-Ireland semi-final defeat to Meath, but despite obviously the game being held behind closed doors. So we're obviously going to look back and try pick up the pieces from what was a very disappointing outcome for Clare. Completely overwhelmed by Meath on Saturday in O'Moore Park. And Áine, just to start with yourself, where do you think that Clare performance came from? Because it was their poorest of the campaign to date.
It definitely was very disappointing. I think they'll be asking themselves the same question. You know, even the management team will be wondering what went wrong. So there's two parts to it. One in that Meath were just at a completely different level from the off. They were ruthless. We discussed it here at the end of last week. Everything we said about them, they did it multiplied by 2 or 3%. They just got it. Everything clicked for me. We were hoping to be in the game, I suppose, but like we just never got off to any start. There was a huge difference in the two teams, like skill-wise, intensity, pace. We just didn't bring any. We were completely overwhelmed from the start. And Meath had their homework done in that they were ready to go. They got 2 early goals and they were able to defend from there. They like we said it here the other day, they were going to sit behind the halfway line and they were going to attack at pace, and that's exactly what they did. Yeah. So, like they put from the very start, our puckouts were under serious pressure to get a first year in goal. And they turned over a couple of kickouts early. They got momentum. Even if we did break up the field, they had a lot of homework done. In fact, it's like they were willing to let us solo the ball, so they were able to go back. So by us soloing the ball, it slowed it down, and then every day snuffed out Lee's threat and throwing Maloney's threat and Grania inside. Like they had a wall across the 45, and they waited for us to get it. It's like they had it all planned. They were going to let Clare solo the ball up the field. And then they were in position to defend. They knew we had to kick it to Niamh or Chloe to get anything out of, they were going to be our main threat, and they had that really just nullified completely.
Yeah, and to be fair on it, you had predicted that really what we saw from Meath, but Noelle, it was your first time I think seeing that Meath team. What did you expect from them? They were a level above Clare really.
Yeah, Páraic, like I haven't seen a lot of games in recent times, but I had Meath Gallopy would have been a friend of mine when she was in the States. Niamh, I think, lined out at number 5 on Saturday, probably one of the player of the matches. But I just had a wee chat with her yesterday and just getting her perspective on that on it as well. Look, Meath are always going to be a strong outfit. You can go back to the olden days. I mean, it might be a long time ago, but they always seem to grow big girls in Meath, big strong girls, physical players, to proud football and county, both male and female. I think the experience of Meath having been in the last All-Ireland was immense, and even talking to Neil, that kind of consistency, they've got a savage fight there at the moment. They want to kick forward, they want to go and win the All-Ireland. Looking at that Meath team, and I just heard that West Meath won yesterday. They come up from intermediate up to, from senior back down to intermediate. But that the Meath team, looking at them, to me, they look like they can compete at senior level at the moment. It might be at the lower level of it, but they've got all the qualities, the traits that you want to see in a senior team. I mean, it's obvious they've got their conditioning done. Everything they've done, Páraic, when you go to that level of football and you're at knockout stage, everything's about intensity, pace, breaking the tackle. If you just watch them coming up the field, even timing, every time that a player running off the shoulder, they 2 or 3 players running for the pass, there's nothing stagnant. Just continuous pace the whole time, and to set up against that, you need you need experience first of all. I think maybe the little lack of experience on it. I haven't not seen any games before this, but I know Clare had a big win against Sligo. maybe sometimes that can be good. Sometimes it can just maybe bring some other, you know, aspects into the game as well. But look, Meath were far the better team, and I'm sure Clare will learn an awful lot from that going forward. A big game in an All-Ireland semi-final. Those players will go back to college. The college season is as good as a full inter-county season sometimes, you know, to blood players to bring them along. And the old adage of having to lose a semi-final to go back in. I think Neil told me that they're, after being in the last, was that their fourth or fifth semi-final, to be in a row, and the last two All-Ireland finals. You can't buy that kind of experience. So, you know, that would be the big thing for me.
Noelle, obviously, you know, you haven't really seen the Clare team up close and personal in recent years, but from Saturday, you know, wasn't their best outcome. But what did you pick from it that maybe Clare did well or were particularly poor at?
Yeah, you know, I suppose, look, I mean, when you're up against opposition like Meath and at that pace and at that level, they couldn't, you know, they weren't working to that level. I suppose just a few little things, Paul, again, I mean, I was a great person myself to go back with the ball, but, you know, going back with the ball and then cutting the pace again, you know, if the game would slow down, give Meath every opportunity to go back and just to set up. I think at one stage, I mean, you probably had 11 or 12 players behind the ball in Meath. They totally snuffed out, you know, the full forward line, Chloe, Niamh and Grania inside. I mean, the big players, but they knew coming in, like, I mean, look, we stopped the ball going into those three big players. I think they frustrated them as well. You could see some of the body language there with, you know, with Chloe and Niamh at times. They were being pulled and dragged. And when you go to that level as well, I mean, that's going to happen. It's going to be part of the game. You know, Clare have, I'm sure looking back on little clips, they've done very, very well in the campaign so far. You know, they've racked up some good scores, some good results, some bad results, and got through. You know, when I was looking in, I thought, okay, maybe they need one or two more experienced players. Niamh is there a long time now. You know, maybe, I suppose, looking at the two Constantines, wouldn't you love to have Eilish Constantine tanked up, buzzed up, coming back from Australia and fitting in there, and maybe Emer after rugby, you know, after rugby season or whatever, a few players like that to come in. But what Clare can take from it, like, I mean, if Clare go back to the drawing board and everyone personally, individually, kick on with the strength and conditioning, and get back, there's no reason why they can't get back there again. I believe it's a very, very young team, a young squad. I see a lot of Harveys there. I'm sure their dad would have been looking down and delighted to see so many Harveys in there and their mum. So, you know, maybe someone like Fiona Lafferty, I've lost a lot of contact with a lot of the players there, but, you know, maybe a few more players needed in there just to boost the level up a little.
And Áine, like, obviously we saw aspects of Clare's performance. They even seemed almost a bit nervous, you could say, even looking at the restart. Some of the kickouts were, you know, that bit of experience or composure at times was missing. Like, does that come down to it being the big day and obviously their most high profile game of the year so far, or is it just when things are going against you they seem to panic?
Yeah, the high profile, like, it's their first semi-final, I suppose, since they got to the 2016 All-Ireland. A lot of young girls. But you just can't take away from the fact that Meath, the way they set up, it was just like they were to another level. I think, I don't know, maybe the occasion, maybe there was a bit of excitement in the girls. They'd gotten this far. We saw the excitement on the field last week when they found out they had gotten through, and maybe that might have just taken over a small bit during the week, and maybe they didn't bring the work rate that you'd expect for a semi-final. So maybe there was a small bit of expectation that that's going to come without actually bringing it themselves. So there's a bit of a gap there when you expect the work rate to be there, and then you're out on the field and nobody, you know, it's not coming from the players. With regards to what I was saying, there are a few extra players in. I think right across the county there's a gap in an age group of maybe 26 to 30, 32. I think every club is struggling at that age at the moment. And you know, we have to bide our time, I suppose, to get those young girls to that age and keep them playing. That's a big thing as well. I suppose the Keane twins are in there with 3 years. Fidelma is in there. Shifra, Aisling Reedy was injured. She was a big loss. And then Speedy was back. She didn't feature at the weekend, so I'm not sure what that was about. She had come on as a sub the previous 2 days. And I suppose those girls are in 3 years. They need another 2 or 3 years and keep bringing players in behind them as well. But they are quite young, and they're running right through the team. Like, that's nearly our spine, you know, that list of players there. She throws at midfield, marking Vicky Wall. Now, Vicky Wall will tell to 1 point, and usually she does score a bit more than that. So for a young girl like she probably will take a lot out of the game as well, and bring her on an awful lot. Emer Keane came on as well. The two of them featured. There is a gap of an age, but I definitely didn't think that we would collapse that badly, you know, that we would put up. But that comes from playing a team at a higher level. And I suppose if we look back, we did say it last week, we said all this out, and yet we tipped Clare to give them a good go. We were maybe a bit naive there, but like, if we look back, we had a poor league campaign. Laois and Sligo would be two teams that we would always consider in the last 3 to 4 years that we will beat. So like, there's a different confidence level going into that type of game, and then we put up huge scores. So then the excitement of that probably carried through a little bit with the younger girls. Kildare game, like, we should have won that. We were always battling with Kildare. We can go either way any year. And with Meath, we drew with them this year, but like, we played them on and off over the years as well. And you never expect, you know, it's going to be a hard battle every day you go out with them. They're a strong physical team. But like Noelle said there, they've lost 2 All-Irelands. They've been in 4 semi-finals in a row. We said it again, myself and Bernie said it last week. You know, we're not at that level yet.
Yeah.
I suppose we need to be getting up the table in Division 2 league next year. So aiming for the top half of that league. We haven't been in that area the last number of years, and that's where the lower of the senior teams are playing that top level of Division 2. So the Armagh, Meath will be up in the Division. They've lost out. Armagh are gone up. You need to be playing that level and competing at that level every year in, year out in the league to bring that through then to championship. So you know, playing competitively at the top end of Division 2 is priority, I think.
Okay, that's something for him to work towards. But after the game, speaking, James Murray would have made the point that there was a lot more eyes on Clare, given that they were the last team standing from the county in All-Ireland Championships, and maybe there was a bit more attention given to them than there had been in recent times. But Noelle, is that like dealing with hype? Is that something that you would work on if you were involved in a team, or is it just something some girls might pay more attention to than others?
Yeah, look, I mean, you know, it was a big game for them. And when I was looking back at a few clips and that, like, I mean, yes, the last team standing, and, you know, I mean, I suppose every team is saying at the moment we want to do it for the supporters and, you know, all the people that are home and watching in. And yeah, I think, you know, for all teams across the board, that brought its own little bit of attention and, you know, a little bit of nervousness as well. You can't put an old head on young shoulders with, you know, with games like that. And, you know, I just think that the experience will have a massive kick on for them. But, you know, again, that's up to the players and management as well to kick on. And, you know, just put a bit of consistency behind that. I mean, I hope, you know, that squad stays together. You know, just I suppose with ladies teams, you find a little bit of a dropout and, you know, going back. So it would be good to see everybody going forward. There's no guarantee, there's no right that you're going to go back into a semi-final next year because, you know, just in my opinion, you know, going back in the past, the intermediate competition was even a more severe, intense competition than, you know, senior level. I know senior level may have closed the gap with a few counties, but there's a lot more counties in the intermediate ranks that, you know, that can compete at that level, and especially with the teams popping down, like Westmeath popped down to intermediate level this year, you know. So it really is a thing of everybody going away and saying, look, what do I want from this? What can I contribute next year going forward? And everybody sit down and push on and get back to that level, you know.
Okay. And as you say, Noelle, that renewed commitment maybe adding a few more experienced players, is that what you think is key to Clare maybe bridging that small bit of a gap that exists between them and the top intermediate teams?
Yeah, look, as I said, like, I mean, you know, I'm maybe a little bit aloof from, you know, who's available right now, but you could just see that in there, like, I mean, they needed a few big players. You got 2 big players in there that can change the dynamics around a little bit as well, you know. It's hard, it's difficult, but you know, with players coming in and everybody working hard to go forward, why not? Why not? I mean, you know, the game is there for everybody. It's going to be the team that works hardest is going to, you know, have the most amount of work rate. What we're doing, what people are doing in the gym in the background. Aggression inside in the game, you know, maybe there was I can't say maybe it's the wrong word to use, but you know, sometimes maybe there was a little bit of complacency there, like because they were coming off the back of a big win, and you know that can be very hard because you can't sort of mentally just put that into somebody's mind. Look, we did have a big win, but we got to come back down to basics here again. Like this Meath team are a well-oiled machine at this stage. They're ready to kick forward, so. I'm sure probably we'll see them back.
Yeah.
I'll be looking forward to seeing them all back again and kicking on, you know.
Yeah, and Áine, like I know the gulf wasn't as big, but just going back to this point in days, 2008, the All Ireland final, you came back and won it 12 months on later. What was there anything done or said? I know we're going back a few years, but was there anything done or said that kind of revitalised you the following year after that? That maybe James Murray, if he was to stay on, could learn from.
Yeah, I suppose we had a great summer that 2008. We'd won the Division 2 league. We were going up to Division 1. We had lost, we won the Munster final as well. With huge momentum going into 2008, and we were training fierce hard. Like the training we had done from the 2007 winter into 2008. We were really confident. We were playing well. We didn't expect to lose the tip, so maybe we had beaten them in that Munster final actually in 08. So when we came back to it then, but the following year then we added more players. That was a big thing. There was a 3 or 4 personnel changes on the starting 15 from the All Ireland previous to the next one. So I suppose that is huge. Adding a couple of players, like Getting Morrissey came in, you know, huge addition. Like Noelle said there, a couple more experienced players is a big part. But I do think at the moment, like our own club, Fergus Rovers, even the banner, there's a gap. Just that age group, maybe they weren't held, you know, they'd played for a year or two maybe, and they're maybe still playing with club but not willing to commit. But commitment is a huge thing as well, going in with the county. But I suppose it's just back to the drawing board, keeping those young girls playing, keep building with them. It might take a little bit longer, but we've been the last 2 quarterfinals, we're in the semi-final this year. So like a big effort again, keeping as many as possible, because you know we know that we're never in the same panel twice, you know, 2 years in a row. You're never with the same 30 girls or whatever. There's always changes. People come in and out for different reasons. Sarah Bohannon is in Australia as well. You never know, she might be back. She's been a big loss this year as well, and a leader in the dressing room as well, you know, just an older age, and maybe we might see her back maybe in springtime. But yeah, I suppose just they'll have to just stick together. There's a good bond there with those young girls. They really enjoy it. They're all great friends. They have a bit of a bond going, and I'm sure you know they'll stick with it. I can't see too many retiring from it. Maybe, I don't know what Emer O'Connor may or may not do. She's been a huge servant. She's there since 08 or 09, so her leadership will be needed as well for another year or two if she sticks at it. But yeah, they'll just have to stick with it. It mightn't happen in 1 year, but it's definitely, if we keep with those young girls and bring on the next stage under them and keep it going, the cycle going. There definitely been a lot of work done. So just continue what they've done.
Yeah, because like Áine, we had, say, Louise Woods and Carol O'Leary would be classed as 2 maybe experienced players, and they were on the sideline and were available Saturday. Like, so outside of that, there's not really experienced players playing at club level, as you say, that they can add in.
Like if you look at the banner, like Louise Hinchy is older, and Niamh Keane is older as well. Emma Driscoll, like there's a gap from their age. They all played in 2016 Ireland. From their age down to Niamh O'Dea, there's a huge gap there. You know, Laurie Ryan is another one that maybe could be back, and she has taken a break. She has a new job up in Athlone, and we may see her back again. She's a huge leader, you know, down the middle. She has been a big loss this year. I thought actually she might have been back in after COVID, but it didn't work out for her. So, you know, herself, Sarah Bohannon, they'd be the 2. Carol and Speedy, I'm not sure what, they didn't feature at the weekend, so I'm not sure if they picked up knocks or what during the week or that. I don't know.
Okay. And on that note, we'll see what happens, I guess. But many thanks once again to Áine, who's been a great analyst and a regular with us for Gaelic football and ladies football coverage over the past few weeks. And a big thank you to Noelle Comyn for joining us and sharing her expertise. So that's where we're going to leave it for today. And many thanks again to Áine and to Noelle.